friends, it's me again, Tisha. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to share with you guys this morning just something that's very important for me, and I feel like it's very important for women who are really 40 plus, mid 40s to 50 and beyond, and that's strength training. Our bodies now really at this point do not need a lot of like 45-minute jumping all around. I used to love that stuff, but now in my 50s, I realized that what's very important is strength training. So that is something that I am more focusing myself on, and realizing that I don't have to do a 45-minute strength training to really get what I need. So I'm getting in, I'm doing 20 minutes of strength training, and these are not trainings that I make up myself. I'm not a personal trainer or anything like that. Honestly, I love Beachbody. I love their videos. I'm not a coach, so I'm not trying to sell you anything or sell you on Beachbody. But that's where I go and find like a 4-week program that deals with strength training, and I do it. I tell myself I can do something for 30 days at least. And that's what I do. I just try to do 30-day segments. So, whatever you find that works for you. But in this age, this time for us, we really need to incorporate strength training amongst everything else. So after I take my supplements, I'm getting into my workout, 20 minutes. So come along with me and let me know how you like it, and if this is something that you're incorporating in your life now. Okay, so I'm just starting out with a 2-minute warm up with some push and pulls, and that's just firing up the upper body before we start picking up these weights and really getting into it. And the reason I'm talking over it is because, like I said, I do a Beachbody workout, and I do not want any copyrights or anything like that. So I am going to be narrating this video, but I'm not going to be going over just, this is what move I'm doing. I am going to share what moves I'm doing. Like this move is circling my arms, my right and left arms, just to kind of make sure that it's all warmed up. Then I'm going to do a little swaying back and forth before I really get into picking up these weights. This is just getting everything all warmed up, especially upper body, because this is what's going to be getting work today. So the chest and the back today is going to be the main focus. So that's why a lot of the focus on warming up is just around the chest and back. All right, so picking up weights, I started off with 8-pound weights. I would say that's pretty good for me because I have been strength training, I won't say for a very long time, but I have been working out a while. So 8 pounds in this situation was a good pound, a good size weight for me to use for this particular move. And this move is a standing chest fly. And I'm only doing these moves for 30 seconds at a time. So the next move is going into a back row and just getting myself positioned for the back row, bending over, making sure I'm sturdy, and then we just get into it. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a couple sets, actually 3 sets of each exercise. So the standing chest fly, gonna do that for 30 seconds. The back row, gonna do that for 30 seconds, and it's gonna be 3 times. So I'm probably gonna, so as I'm going through the video, or you're watching the video, and to just really keep seeing all these sets here, I'm just gonna share a few things with you regarding turning 50 and this strength training. This is so super important, especially when you are a woman in menopause, perimenopause actually, but especially for a woman that's in menopause, we start to lose our muscle at a rapid rate, a rapid rate. When this estrogen goes, a lot of other thing goes. So I have really been a woman that has been firm, I will say, firm in all over my body, because exercising just wasn't a stranger to me, or I'm not a stranger to exercise. So I've always been kind of firm. My arms have been firm, my legs, my thighs, everything has been firm. And then around, I'll say 50-ish, a little after 50, I just noticed that the firmness was leaving my body. I'll say that. Everything just wasn't as firm as it used to be. And that was scary. And that's a big part of why I was doing 50. I am doing 50 and figuring it out, because there's just not a lot of information out here explaining that, hey, at 50, your muscle is leaving. You really, really have to do strength training. I say at this point, it's not even an option anymore. If you want to be able to walk, if you want to be able to get up out of a chair when you're older, if you want to be self-sufficient, independent, that starts now. Really should have started a couple years before you turn 50, but it has to really start now. We have to make strength training a priority. It is not an option anymore. So I hope all women are taking heed to this. In addition to the strength training, we have to add so much protein into our diet. And I want to say protein, but we have to add a lot more. We were really taught to really kind of not eat a lot of protein, but that has changed now. Protein is just as important as strength training. They really go hand in hand. 50-50. We have to up the protein in our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're looking at least, I'll say at least 100 to 120 grams a day. And that may seem hard. That I feel like that's hard for us because we were not advised previously to add so much protein, and now to go back and say, hey, add all of this protein. You need so much protein in your body now to maintain your muscle mass, and that really requires a whole different routine now as far as breakfast, making sure that you're eating more eggs. So if you normally ate one egg, eat two, or eat three, or it's just almost a must to incorporate a protein shake or drink in your day to be able to get your protein in. Snack on some nuts or something like that. These are just things that we have to just strategically now make sure that we do in order to maintain our bodies at this age. I'd say 50 a lot, but I will go all the way back to starting at 40. If you start at 40, you are ahead of the game. But if you get in at 45, that's where it's almost a must. Perimenopause has set in on almost everyone. And exercise and diet is one of the things that when I was in perimenopause really, really helped me to not go through all of the really bad symptoms that a lot of my friends were going through and were talking about. And I can just remember them talking about night sweats and sleeping under a ceiling fan and everything like that. And it was just so confusing to me because my ceiling fan in my room never turned on. It was there for decorations. Now I cannot sleep without that ceiling fan on. It is a must. But back at that time when I just heard a lot of them just talking about the things that their bodies were going through, and I was just so confused because my body was not going through it. And I didn't know it was perimenopause. We were not talking about perimenopause because it just wasn't a thing to talk about. But also, just at that time in my life, I was really eating really good. What started me on the track with that was a program called Whole 30. Whole 30 saved my life. I want to say that. It saved me and my husband's life. Family members, anybody who I can tell about the Whole 30, because that really taught us how to eat and how to eat a little bit cleaner, how to prioritize more protein and things of that nature. It took out carbs for a minute, but you got good carbs from vegetables and things. So look up Whole 30. If you need somewhere to start, look up Whole 30. You can find a lot of people doing it on Instagram. There's books about the program. There's just things that you can do. But that's where we started years ago. I just ran into something called Whole 30 on Instagram, and I looked into it, and I was like, hey, I'm going to try this, another 30-day program. So I did 30 days. I tell myself I can do anything for 30 days. Even if it's something really, really hard, I can do it for 30 days at least. And I did that 30-day program, and that really just led to a mind change, a mind switch on food and eating and clean eating and what's not clean and just all that kind of stuff. So definitely check Whole 30 out. And again, I'm not a Whole 30 coach. I'm not selling anything for Whole 30. I'm just talking about what helped me get on track. So with that Whole 30, doing that program, a lot of things changed in my body, and I just kind of stuck with a lot of the eating habits that I picked up in those 30 days, and exercising in those 30 days was just something that was incorporated as well. Although doing the Whole 30, they even tell you don't exercise or you really don't have to, but I did. So picking up that Whole 30 and also incorporating exercise, I feel like it really helped me in perimenopause, because even though I was going through perimenopause and having the night sweats, they stopped. They completely stopped. After I did a Whole 30, night sweats, just all the things that I was kind of going into with perimenopause completely ceased. So that's why when my friends were talking about these things going on in their body, I was like, hey, I did experience a couple times night sweats. I said, but when I'm taking care of my body and exercising, I say those things go away. So that actually happened for me in perimenopause. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it. So definitely for any woman that's going through perimenopause right now, I would say exercise and eating right is really going to cut down those symptoms of perimenopause, those things the night sweats, all the things, because there's a lot of different things that start happening in our bodies at in perimenopause and menopause. So definitely, I would say check that out. So perimenopause was not awful for me. It was going into menopause, and I came into menopause blindsided. You'll hear me say this a lot. Menopause blindsided me, because I went from no symptoms really to boom, you're in menopause and you have these very horrible symptoms. I'm going to back it up. I want to actually tell this story about when I was in perimenopause and I didn't know that this was one of the things that's going on. Your period, it gets really wonky, and I went through a period of bleeding very, very heavily. Went from a person who was a 3-day cycle, barely bled, to just one day my cycle came on and it decided that it did not want to go off. And I was working with my gynecologist about this bleeding. And she kept trying to tell me to have a hysterectomy. That was her solution to what was going on with my body. Hysterectomy. And I did not want to have a hysterectomy. I'm like, I know there has to be something else that we can do. And this is weird to me because this is a gynecologist. You know my age of when I was going through this. And this gynecologist never mentioned the word perimenopause, never mentioned the word menopause, just what I was going through. Her main focus and push was saying, hey, get a hysterectomy. And I feel like that was awful. Honestly, I haven't been back there in a really, really long time because I just didn't feel like they were on my side. Again, I've never heard perimenopause or menopause come out of their mouth. And I don't know if they were trying to milk something or not. I don't want to put that out there, but I just wanted to share that story. We really have to advocate for ourselves, for our bodies, like taking out my body parts for what? I was in perimenopause going into menopause. That's all it was. And that was what my body was doing. I don't know if it was just getting rid of excess blood or whatever, but that's all it was. And eventually the bleeding stopped, actually. I did take birth control because I saw different doctors in the clinic. So different ones told me different things, but they put me on birth control one time, and that stopped it. And then after 30 days on the birth control, it stopped it, and I went a long time before I did it again. I only did those bleeding really heavy for a really long time. I want to say almost a whole month, but I did those things 2 times. My body went through that twice. And that now I know is a sign that you're in perimenopause, and you're probably heading towards the end of perimenopause. So like I said, I don't know if this is for sure, but I feel like my body was probably just getting rid of excess, blood or whatever, or it was just fighting for the estrogen. I don't know what was going on with my body, but I'm very glad that I did not go the route of having a hysterectomy. That was just not for me. Now, I don't have anything against hysterectomy. I actually know a lot of women who have had hysterectomies. I just did not want to take that route. That was just not for me. So I wanted to share that story because I just want women to advocate for themselves. If you are talking to a gynecologist and they do not mention perimenopause when you go in and you already know a lot of menopausal or perimenopausal symptoms and they don't mention those to you, then maybe they're not the right doctor for you. And I've really been doing a lot of research. So do a lot of research and see what you can find, or even find a new gynecologist if they don't do what needs to be done for you. Okay, so I'm really kind of coming to the end of this workout session. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm very tired at this point. I am cooling down at this point in the workout. So this was a really good, very good workout. Those 20 minutes really did my body some good. And what I plan to do is I do try to get between 8 and 10,000 steps a day. So maybe on my lunch break, really after this, I go and take me a walk around my neighborhood, maybe get about 15 minutes, but just also Getting 8 to 10,000 steps a day, that really works for my body and trying to make sure I maintain weight loss or, where I am, not gain weight, although I have gained a few pounds because I've been on a few vacations, but that's neither here nor there. But if you like this, make a comment. Let me know, what are you doing to make sure that at this time in your age, this time in your life, that we're taking care of ourselves.